You're listening to Big World Network.
Amazing Grace, Episode 7. Written by James Hellvig, read by Meagan Hedin. Father Bernard trudges up the stairs leading to the precinct captain's office. Alberto sits outside with his parents, looking grim. On the other side of the hall, a muffled male voice can be heard, the words indistinct, but the tone abundantly clear. Knowing Mac Reynolds, Father Bernard shakes his head. I would imagine my newest employee is giving you a run for your money. Greeting Alberto and his family, Father Bernard lowers himself into a chair to wait, listening intently. He hopes to make out a word or two before making his presence known. Tammy watches impassively as the whip-thin, gray-headed man glares at her. Do you have any idea how big a hornet's nest you just kicked? Mac accentuates his words by slamming his hand on his desk, then continues. I don't have the manpower or the resources for this crap. 2 concussions, 5 broken bones, and a room full of punks screaming about how you assaulted them. What's so damn funny? You going to charge me with assault, Captain? Tammy asks, smiling. Scowling deeper, Mac replies, I damn well ought to. Who do you think you are, Batman? Batman's got better toys than me, but I look better in tight leather, Tammy quips. The office phone rings and Mac snatches it up, snapping, What? A pause, and then, He can damn well wait. Slamming the receiver back down, Mac slumps in his chair and folds his arm across his chest. Blowing out a breath, he tells Tammy, Your boss is waiting for you outside. Maybe he can do something with you. You have heard of turning the other cheek, Miss Fuller? I'm more of an Old Testament kind of gal. Do unto others and all that, Tammy says blandly. Rolling his eyes, Mac points at the door. You want to let him in? Remaining seated, Tammy shakes her head and smiles. I'm a dark knight, not a door opener. Getting up in disgust, Mac walks to the door, mumbling, Dark knight my ass. Snatching open the door hard enough to bang it off the hard rubber stop, Mac sticks his head into the hallway and jerks his thumb over his shoulder, snarling at the waiting priest and family. In here! Fuming, the precinct commander stomps back to the front of his desk and sits down, waiting for the others to get settled. Alberto's parents sit as close to the door as they can manage, while Father Bernard sits across from Tammy. Rubbing a hand over his face, Captain Reynolds sighs loudly. Okay then. 5 gang members attacked you, threatening rape, and you defended yourselves. Ms. Fuller has assumed full responsibility for her actions. Pointing at Alberto, he continues. You were never here. You filed no complaint, and, as a minor, signed nothing. Mr. and Mrs. Ramones, you can go now. Alberto starts to protest, but Tammy stops him, saying, He's right, Alberto. We'd keep your family's name out of this. Go on. I'll see you soon. Alberto's father nods once, solemnly. His mother smiles at Tammy. Taking her son's hand, she whispers, Thank you. As the door closes, Mac turns his glare on Father Bernard. I don't know if we can keep the lid on this thing or not. Cortez is going to want payback. I'm even more worried about his boss, Demonis Alumno. Father Bernard steeples his hands together, looking at Tammy. Raising an eyebrow in response to his unasked question, she turns to the hawkish policeman. Devil's Pupil, she asks. A street name I'm not familiar with, Captain. Care to enlighten me? Father Bernard answers instead. That nickname was given to the leader of Cortez's gang after he disemboweled a suspected informant. Mac adds quietly, Saying he is just a guess. We don't know the name of the real leader or who the person really is. I only know that whoever they are, they're vicious. Thinking for a moment, Tammy replies, So I should pay this person a visit. Both men look at her, wide-eyed, and simultaneously exclaim, Are you insane? Chuckling aloud at their astonished expressions, Tammy explains, Whoever is in charge is a business person, no? The business of drugs, prostitution, and protection in the neighborhood is difficult to carry out if all your resources are tied up fighting with the local police. She looks the precinct captain squarely in the eye before continuing. You would vigorously investigate my sudden demise, wouldn't you, Captain? Mac Reynolds shrewdly evaluates what Tammy is proposing. Grimacing, he tells her, Surely, but convincing my bosses to go to war with these assholes would take more than my say-so alone. Father Bernard reaches across the table and takes Tammy's hand, saying, "I am quite sure the church hierarchy would exert considerable pressure to see that done. I vehemently pray it will not come to that." Squeezing his hand, Tammy smiles at her boss and friend. "Amen to that." "Are we secure here?" she asks then, turning back to Mac. Shrugging his shoulders, he waggles an outstretched hand in a so-so gesture. Frowning, Tammy tells him, "Can I buy you a late dinner, Captain? You could show me a great local favorite." Rolling his eyes and putting his feet back on the floor, Mac stands. Bowing slightly, with an exaggerated hand extended towards the door, he says sarcastically, "After you. Are you treating me to a meal with or without a free toy?" Grinning and standing together, Tammy and Father Bernard walk toward the exit. Father Bernard says, "Choose wisely, Captain. While I believe Miss Fuller can eat anything, she always keeps score." Grabbing his coat, Mac mumbles as he closes the door behind them. "Shit, maybe she is Batman." Dinner was enlightening, Mac muses, driving back to the station later. At least he now knew the source of the intelligence his gang division had been receiving. It was daring, he'd give her that much. If it worked. If it didn't start a full-scale riot. Hell, if it works, I'll buy her a damn cape. Chuckling aloud, he picks up his phone. He has a lot of coordinating to do in the next 2 days. Cold rain drizzles down, chilling the few pedestrians hurrying slump-shouldered to their destinations. For the street people, the fall-cold snap is but a preview of bitter days to come. Tammy shudders, pulling a ragged coat closer around her and easing her prone body deeper into the corrugated box she's rigged to shield them from the elements. Snoring loudly next to her, reeking of cheap liquor and infrequent bathing, is Carla, a 50-ish woman with a long history of mental illness. Carla is a long-time inhabitant of the neighborhood and, when lucid, one of Tammy's best informants. She has also doggedly resisted every subtle effort to remove her from this environment. Surveillance of the local gang's primary meeting places the past 2 days has given her insight into the temperament, if not the intent, of the leadership. Tammy thought she at least knew who the figurehead was. She'd have to contact Dale and have him run some data for her. Feigning sleep, Tammy watches as the gang members outside this latest meeting place conduct their own counter-surveillance. It was amateurish, but the fact that they were doing it at all was cause for concern. Whoever was running things was far from stupid. Demonis Alumno fumed. Cortez was an idiot. The word was out. A surprise show of force by the police in the morning, one assumed it would be directed at the number 3 man in the organization, Raphael. Let them have their fun, he thought. There were bigger issues to be dealt with. Orders had already been given. Raphael thought Hector was really the big boss, after all, and the general membership was led to believe in Raphael only. Hector alone knew that there was someone above him, and both he and the real Demonis Alumno guarded their secret as if their lives depended on it. They did. Tammy rides in the front next to Captain Reynolds. She's wearing body armor and has a concealed pistol, one she's sure Mac wouldn't approve of, strapped to her ankle. The bulk of the combined task force heads silently up the darkened street towards Raphael's home. Tammy smiles as the dark sedan she's in turns down an alley 5 blocks past the main force's objective. Hector awakens to the feeling of cold steel being pressed firmly to his forehead. Eyes snapping open, he sees the lean frame of the local police commander silhouetted in the early morning light. The muzzle of a large-bore pistol doesn't waver as the man speaks softly. "Good morning, Hector." Surprised? Hands slowly above the covers. Complying with the demand, Hector asks blandly, "Who are you? What do you want?" Mac looks affronted. "Hector, my feelings are hurt. You're a hard man to find. But now that we know who you are, I assure you we'll be watching. I came here with a proposal, as I can tell you're a guy that values confidentiality." Hector's mind is reeling with possibilities and consequences. "How the hell did they find me? Did Raphael give me up? I'll kill him." After stepping back and allowing Hector to sit up, Mac continues. "The lady here is a pastor and a personal friend. If anything happens to her, anything at all, it's going to piss me off. I will vent that anger directly at you and your organization. We understand each other?" The lady pastor steps forward, meeting Hector's gaze. I'm here to stay. I ask only to do my work in peace. Hector points a shaky finger at both her and the commander, exclaiming, I don't know who you people think I am, but you're making a mistake. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Mac snorts. Uh-huh. Glancing at the woman, he continues, And the Easter Bunny brings Christmas presents on Halloween. Think about it, Hector. Businessman or badass? Your choice. We'll be seeing ya. Mac and Tammy quietly exit the high-priced apartment, leaving the fuming gang leader inside. Glancing over his shoulder as they turn towards the elevators, Mac holsters his sidearm and says, If your intelligence is wrong, I'm about to be unemployed, you know. Smiling, Tammy pushes the lift call button. Your job is secure, Mac. Thank you. I know this was a little outside the box. Raising an eyebrow, Mac scowls and looks at Tammy directly as they enter the lift. A little? I didn't think they taught lockpicking in Catholic school. Chuckling and patting his arm, Tammy replies, You'd be surprised. Her voice lowers to a whisper as the door closes. And Mac, I'm not Catholic. Mac's phone buzzes. Looking at the screen, he's relieved to see that the code they'd set up for no violence has been sent by his watch commander. Showing it to Tammy, he says blandly, So, what size cape do you wear?
You're listening to Big World Network.